Heidi ho, my crafty friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. Oh, and you're having a lovely day. So I thought today, good gracious, PJ, we would put our signatures in our cover for Grandma's attic. So I've created the front of the cover with this lovely fabric, and I created it out of an old paper bag, and I just sewed the signatures on around, and I know this looks whoop-de-doodled on the inside. That's because I sewed that on, and it looks crooked, but it really isn't crooked. It's just the way that it's the placement of it. And then I marked where my signatures are going to go. Remember, we already sewed them together, so that's the placement of how the signatures are going to go. And because I have the tabs on here, I know where the top of my signatures are. So I was able to place them down and say, okay, so they're going to go like this, and I was able to mark my 3 signatures. So I don't have to punch my holes because I already punched them. So, but what I do need to do is I need to take out these holes, and I need to sew them into this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew them through here, and then I'm going to put the inside cover on over top of them. I'm actually think I'm going to put a piece of secure tape over top of them so they don't pull through this. And let me show you the tape I'm going to use. It is a hold on a second. It's sitting over here on the table. Hold on, guys. Let me get a hold of it. Oh, my goodness. That's what happens when you have little short arms. It's just my clear masking tape, but I'm going to do it after I sew them in. And, you know, now that I say that, I don't need something that strong, do I? Because they're already going to be sewed in. You know, I'm rethinking this as I'm telling you this. So how about we use? Hold on, I gotta get a hold of it. Hold on a minute, guys. I haven't left you. I just need something. I don't need that either. This might even work. I think masking tape might even work. I just need something to hold them from pulling through. So we'll see. So I have out my masking tape also. All right, so to sew these through, oh, darn it, I forgot my clamps. Good heavens. All right, let me grab my clamps here. Good gracious. You'd think I'd be a little more prepared, wouldn't you? What do you think? All right, so I'm going to go to the middle of the signature. Now, in case you're new, a signature is a group of pages that make up this section of the book. This is a signature, okay? These 3 signatures, these 3 groupings make up the book, okay? So each signature is a group of pages. So once you put the signatures together, they make up your book. All right, so I need to go to the center. Now, I can do 2 things. I can either untie this and reuse this string. First thing I need to do is clamp that together so I don't lose my lining where I already have it. And I had a paper clip in my hand. Oh my gracious. Here, I'll just use this one. Yeah, PJ's not happy I'm in here. Can you hear him? I'm sure you can. So I'm going to put this paper clip up here because I don't want, when I take this out, I don't want the the lineup of the thread to move. So you can either untie your knot, or you can just go like this. I know, don't panic. You can just pull your thread out, just like that. Now, if you've got them clamped together, your holes aren't going to move, okay? So then you take new thread, and in my case, I'm using the exact same thread, and I'm most likely going to use the exact same needle, and we're just going to punch right through the book. Now, to punch through the book, and because I have fabric, I need a book with a needle with a point. Normally, I would use a blunt-ended needle like this one. See how it's blunt compared to one of these with a point. See the point? It's already poking me. Because I have to go through fabric there, I think I'm going to choose one here that has a point. Now, if I find that I don't need that, I can go back to this blunt end. But I'm thinking because I have to go through that fabric, come here, you, then I am going to choose this one. Now, you sew these in the exact same way. The only difference is you have to be really careful coming back through your center hole, because you will split your thread. So you go in through the center. Okay, now I'm starting back to front, and you go into the center. Okay, and you make sure it's where you want it. Now, because I have my papers clipped, nothing's moved, so I'm going to clip it to the book. I've just clipped it straight to the book, and I'm going to, I have that side clipped. I'm going to very quickly clip it to this side. That way I know nothing's going to move. None of my holes are going to move. Nothing's going to move on me. I'm going to pull it through. Now, you don't pull through your tail, so get a hold of your tail. Now, the one thing that you're going to have a problem with is you can't see to come back through here. Now, I need to take out or move that. You can't see to come back through there. So what I do is I take my awl and I poke it through. Now, I need to move that fabric. I'll poke it through. I'll line it through my pages. Now, make sure I have all my pages lined up. And it's okay to wiggle them around so you can see, see your hole, which is what I'm doing. I'm taking my awl and I'm making sure I'm headed through all the pages correctly, that I'm not adding a new hole or anything like that. Okay. And that I'm right on the hole that I created in my cover. And I'm going to poke it straight down and through. Okay, now I'm tipping it over, and there's my hole. Now, I want to make sure I'm lined up where I'm supposed to be and that I'm not over here. So I'm going to kind of close it up a little bit, and I'm not. See, I'm not. Look how off I am. Look how off it is. Most likely my needle traveled. Can you see the difference? Most likely my needle traveled. So I need to take that out, because your needle will do that. It will travel. My needle traveled. So I need to see where my needle ended up. And I'm going to leave the hole that my awl made. No, my needle went through there. So let's see where we end up here. Let's see if it looks straighter than it is. Okay, well maybe it is straighter than it looked like. All right, so let's go back through our pages. Now we have to be gentle because we don't want to create a new hole. Now let's pull this through. Now let's look on the outside. Before we go any further, let's look on the outside. Okay, good. We're lining up like we should be, so we're good. Now, I'm going to lift you up here a little bit so I'm not so much in your face. Now, we're going to do the same thing through the bottom hole. We're going to go through the bottom. We're going to make sure that we're not creating any new holes. And I'm going to make sure I go through that hole that I marked. Oops. That I marked. You know what? I'm going to use my awl. So I'm going to make sure that I go through that hole that I marked with my pencil. Okay, yeah, I did punch it. Let's make sure I'm through all my pages. Oops, I do have one page that keeps moving that I need to make sure I'm going through. Right there. Okay. Okay, so I'm through there. Now, I'm going to come back through the center. So to keep from splitting this thread, I'm going to pull this thread down to the bottom. I'm going to come back up to this hole. Now, coming through fabric can be a little tricky because sometimes your needle likes to wander, but I'm doing good so far. There we go. And I'm going to slide it. Oh, I don't need to. That thread stayed there. Yay. Okay, good. And I'm going to tug on it a little bit. Okay, that feels good. Oh, you know what? We were going to... No, I guess we don't need to because this feels good. Let's make sure this is snug. We were going to try and put some tape on it, weren't we? But I don't think we need to because I don't think it's going to pull through. And then we're going to retie it. Now, you don't want to tie it so tight that you tear through your pages. But what you do want to try to do is make sure that it's snug. Okay? You want to make sure that it's snug. But you don't want to rip through your pages. Okay, so now I can take these clamps off of everything. And everything's in the holes that I marked. So let's look on the outside here. And everything's lined up. Now, it looks a little loosey-goosey, doesn't it? It's because I don't have the other ones in it. But everything lined up well. Good. So I'm going to go on and take my awl. And I'm going to punch these holes because that might help me see for the next time. I can see them, but I can't see them well through that fabric. And that's one thing about fabric that sometimes you have a problem with is it's hard to see the holes sometimes. The only time I don't have a problem seeing fabric is when I use a hard book. All right, let's see. I can see those a little better. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing with the other two. So I'm going to pause the video because there's no sense you watching me try to do this 2 more times because you'll be asleep. And when I'm done, I will be right back. Okay, see, I just cut it. And when I'm done with it, I just... Oh, dear. I didn't clamp that, did I? When I'm done, I just... There. When I'm done, I just throw that thread away. I don't try to save it or anything. So I'm going to have to make sure these are still lined up because I didn't check them. Now, to make sure they're lined up, if you do like I just did, you can take your awl and put it through the center hole and hold them and then line them back up. And then put your clamp or your or whatever you have, you can put that back on it because I took that thread out before I clamped it down. There we go. And that'll hold it in place for you. There we go. All right, so this will be my center one. And I'll do it the same way, okay? So I will be right back after I get these next two sewn in. And then we will add our... Oh dear, you know what? We can't do that, can we? We can't add our... this how I wanted it. Okay, we got to stop. We have to stop. We had to stop. Okay, I'm glad I got those clamped. Hold on a minute. I'm brain dead, you guys. I'm brain dead. That's not going to work. Not going to work at all. Oh, wow. Darn. See, I wanted to cover the whole inside with that green. And I just... Oh, Lori. And I just sewed a signature in. And now I can't do it. All right, so let's do this again. All right, so I have to take that back out. All right, I've got this clamp back together. All right, let me close this door here. All right, let me make sure these holes are punched through enough that we can see before we cover them up. Okay, here. Let me get my punch book here. Now, don't worry about, see how my holes are getting a little bit bigger. They'll close back up. Fabric will close back up. Okay. So what I wanted to do, oh gracious. Now, I need to figure out, my flowers have a direction. They go up and down. My green fabric does not. It goes this way. I mean, it can go anyway. Oh, heaven's sakes, Lori. So, I wanted to, all right, let me get it on here. And I'm going to start on one side and then glue my way across. Now, I've taken my sewing machine and I've sewn around the edges. So, I'm going to start, I think, on this side. Now, I'm not going to glue down the center where we're going to be putting our signatures because that'll make it too hard to put the signatures in. Okay. Oh, goodness. I can't believe I forgot about this. I was thinking I would just be able to put it right over top of it. Okay, and anything that I need to adjust on the edges, you know, with the edges, I can do that. I'll just use a different glue or squirt some in it. Okay. Now, if you spread your glue out as you put it on, it won't seep through your fabric as much. Now, if you do have on nail polish, it will take off your nail polish. Just a little FYI. Okay. Now, I don't wear nail polish, so it doesn't bother me, but I still get all goopy. I get goopy. Now, if you don't use Fabri-Tac, I know there are some people that don't like Fabri-Tac. You can use whatever glue you prefer to put your fabric down. Now, if you're not using fabric, if you just like the look of paper on its own, go for it. I've done that before too. I love that look. There. I actually have in the playlist a beginner's journal that we made with cardstock that looks just like, like that. Now, I'm not going to glue anywhere in here, top or bottom, until we get the signatures in. But I am going to glue right up to that seam. Just like that. And I am going to spread it out well, because this fabric is a little thin. And I'm going to get it up to the edges as close as I can. Okay. Now, I think I might glue there across the bottom. But I definitely want to make sure I get the edges. But I don't want to glue there in the middle, because that's a mess to try to sew through. Okay. Okay. Now, let me wipe my finger off. So, let me get a baby wipe here and get my hand wiped off, so I'm not getting glue all over everything. Now, if you do happen to get glue on your tools, Fabri-Tac on your tools, like your scissors, your awl, your needles, alcohol will take it off for you on your tools. Put alcohol on a cotton swab or one of those little cotton rounds, and that will clean it off for you. All right, so we are ready. Let's turn this over. Now, even if I don't see it like this, okay, you can kind of see it coming through there. I have a little bit down here that needs trimmed. That's all right. We'll take care of that. Now, let's start with number 3. Okay, we know where number 3 is going. It is going back here. So, let's get that one started again. Let's get our needle out. And let's try this again. 1, 2, 3. Now, let's do this one more time. Okay. All right, we're going to go through the middle. There we go. Now, we need to line up with our middle hole, which is right there. And then once we do, I'm going to push my needle in, line everything up. I'm going to take my clamp. I'm going to clamp that still, and I'm going to put that over there to keep these from wiggling. Pull that through. Oops, don't want to lose my tail. Okay. Now on this side, I can see my hole. So I'm bringing it through. I am making sure I'm lined up with my holes in my pages. Yeah, I have no idea what he's barking at, you guys. I am going to go put a stop to it here in just a second, as soon as I get my needle lined up here. There must be somebody outside. Okay, now I'm going to come all the way down to this bottom hole. Now, this is not straight up here, so this needs to be adjusted before you go into your bottom hole. You need to make sure that you are where you need to be all the way across the top and all the way across the bottom. There. Because once you get them started, it's harder to move them. So, and then push that one through and make sure you're in the right hole. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to pull this off to the side and come back into the middle. Oh, he is not happy. Okay, so I need to come back into the middle. Uh-oh, now they're both going. Somebody's outside. Okay, it's in the fabric, but it's not finding the paper. There it is. There it is. There we go. Right there. Okay, so we're going to pull that through. Okay, now make sure your papers are adjusted, top and bottom, and make sure that these are adjusted. Now, you want this to be snug. Ah, see, I split the thread. That's why it wouldn't. That's why it wouldn't go through. Make sure your threads are tied tight. Now I know it won't come through there. Make sure your threads are tied tight, but you don't want to pull through your signature. Okay. Okay, we can unclamp everything. Now let's take a look here. Oh, much better. Much better. Actually, looks like it's supposed to. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with this one. So I'm going to pause you while I do the next two, now that you know what I'm doing. So I will be right back. Okay, signatures are in. I'm tying the last knot here. Nice and snug. Sounds like a guitar string. There we go. How about that? Make sure everything is how I want it. I'm excited to finally have this book in a cover, so I'm not losing things anymore. There we go. Now we can continue working on decorating our book. And I am having so much fun working on it. And I'm trying to think of something to do for the center. Okay, so I still need to do some trimming here on the bottom. So I'm going to turn this over. And I'm just going to follow along here. And I'm trying not to cut anything that I don't want to cut. In my haste, I should have done it before I started sewing. But we all know how that works, don't we? Okay, so when sewing them in, you know, I didn't glue there in the center. So that center is now secure. So now we've got a cover on it, and we've got everything sewed. And if I decide I want to decorate it anymore, I can. There we go. Oh, I got a little place. I'll probably take my rotary cutter in there and straighten that up a little bit. There, because it's still a little wampadoodled. And that's going to make me a little crazy, having all those little ends stick out like that. Now, I might add some lace to this. You know, it is Grandma's attic after all. So I might add some lace to it. Maybe on the cover. See, everything lined up so nicely. I'm so pleased. But got those all put away. Didn't need any of that. So I might add a little bit of lace here. I don't think I'm going to add any here, but I might add some here after I go through with my rotary color and straighten some up. I might even add some on the pages, but there's our tabs sticking out so cute. And I don't even mind that I didn't get that done on all the way. I may put something back there to cover that up. Yeah, see? So, you know, there are always ways to fix when something doesn't go your way. So I really like this. It's nice and soft. So if you haven't made anything from a paper bag, definitely give it a try. Even if it's, you know, a lunch bag, you can still make a journal like this from a lunch bag. It doesn't have to be one of those little tiny folded ones. Maybe we'll do that one time. I'll show you how to do that. So I want to thank you for joining me today as we finally got Grandma's attic under cover. And we're going to continue working on her, getting some more page decorations in because I am just having such a good time working on her. And we got to get some more pockets in. We don't hardly have any pockets in here. That's where this little piece of paper, I had that in there. We don't have hardly any pockets in here. And there's that little card we put in. Pockets or tags. So we need to get a tag session and we need to get a pocket session going so we can get this, get some more decorating done. And we'll be working on that. So I want to thank you for joining me as we get Grandma's attic decorated. And until I see you again in our next video, ta-ta for now.